Did you know there was a player that changed Geometry Dash forever? How's that possible? Somewhat old news, but freaking it sounds like an interesting story. This video is by Sambifying, shouts out.
How one player fundamentally changed how people play Geometry Dash forever. The player in
Tell me, Mr. Fancy Fox.
As the best creator in the community. And then he suddenly just vanished without a trace. The only thing he left behind was an account that was mysteriously operated by someone else. It's been years since then, and players today never really found out what actually happened. Where did he go? This video is a personal appreciation letter to this creator. This is the story of FunnyGame.
Funny game. That's a man. Roll the clip of the girl on Eric Andre's show saying, "Is that a man or a song?"
That's a man.
But for real, that's a man.
Yeah.
Starting as a mobile game, Geometry Dash quickly rose to be one of the biggest platformers ever. Sharing a lot of gameplay elements with the internet classic The Impossible Game, it quickly dominated the app stores and rose to massive popularity. The game works in a very simple way. You have to reach the end of the level without dying. For stupid people, you see a spike,
like me,
click, and therefore you make the tiny square jump. Pretty easy, right? Well, at the start, maybe. The game comes with 21 levels, which all have different songs, different difficulties, and most importantly, different game modes. This little cube is only one out of 7 different game modes you swap in and out of by going through these differently colored portals.
What up, Katrina?
And this can get very crazy very quickly. Every once in a blue moon, you mean every once in a blue moon, the game developer Rubtop releases a new update, adding a new game mode and a new main level to beat. But how on earth is such a simple game, with the last update being 5 years ago, still alive and kicking 9 years?
I think they have had an update since then. This video is 3 years old, so a little outdated.
Later. Well, for one reason only, the game comes with an editor, which allows you to create your own levels.
Oh yes! That's like the whole point of Geometry Dash, dude. It would be nothing without the level editor. I mean, it would be something, but very much smaller of a thing, like the Impossible game. That's what they did different. Geometry Dash, I think, brought the level editor into it, no? Did the Impossible game even have that? Probably not, because it was just like a Flash game. But I don't know. Bang bong!
Wherever there is room for creativity,
humans will gather to show off what they can come up with. This is why level editors in games are always such amazing showcases of the human imagination, given only a base set of tools. In the span of 9 years, we went from levels looking like a simple Impossible game ripoff to amazing expressions of art and creativity.
And sadistic traps of horrific things disguised as video games, but really they're demons. Portals to hell. And not good. It's more than creativity. I feel like some creativity shouldn't be expressed. It's creativity with malicious intent.
Very early on,
but I digress.
The levels still looked like this instead of this. One creator stood out from the rest. His name was FunnyGame.
Well, get on with it then.
To fully show off how special this player was, we need to go back years and years. Custom levels back then all kinda looked the same. Players only had a very limited toolset to work with. Simple, boring blocks, and only a few gameplay mechanics to play with. They couldn't even use more than one color at the same time. How did people... This naturally led to a lot of levels looking very similar. They didn't have a lot of options to stand out from another. However, FunnyGame was one of the first creators to really stray away from the normal default style of Geometry Dash levels. The best early example I could find of this was FunnyGame's level Crazy Bolt. Guess what the level is about?
Bolts going crazy.
Yeah, it's about bolts. I don't know what you expected. The name's Crazy
I kind of expected like a lightning bolt thing, but it's like a literal bolt. So I would have even thought that was nuts. A nut level. That would be a funny game.
You have no idea how cool this was. For what, 2013? When the f was this? Basically, for back then, it was absolutely unheard of for levels to have a theme. You can clearly see FunnyGame trying to go for a factory theme with these crazy bolts, I said it, just scattered all around the level. This was something new and so creative. 2 years after FunnyGame releases that level, a small unknown player would find exactly this level and be inspired to start his own creating career.
Hell yeah. Was it funnier game? Oh.
Nah, but who cares about that guy? People back then weren't used
Wait,
to
was he
this
talking about himself? I don't even understand. Chat, is this real?
kind of creating. It wasn't default blocks anymore. It was something new. And this was only the start.
Hard at work, son, or hard
no
at work?
point was this more noticeable
Me
than when
too.
Geometry Dash finally received the update 1.9. Not only did people now have tons of new cool blocks to play with, but people now could also assign up to 4 colors to objects. This basically opened up Pandora's box to creating user levels in Geometry Dash as we know them today. A lot of people call update 1.9 the golden age of Geometry Dash. I'm not sure
Like
if that's
Golden
true,
Freddy.
but one thing that I know for certain is that FunnyGame was about to absolutely pop off.
Oh, so funny. He's so funny. These levels do look crazy. What's
Every
so funny?
single time this guy uploaded a new level, it was an absolute banger. I remember waking up to notifications in the Skype group chats from people asking if others had played the new FunnyGame level yet. I always got super excited about his levels because for some reason they just felt different. They felt sincere. Like there was a guy who genuinely cared about making a cool and fun level to play instead of just making a generic level just to get it featured on the main page. You know who you are. The attention to
I really
detail
don't.
was insane for the time. For example, these notes in La Campanella actually are the notes of the song, which I for some reason didn't know. Did he actually use the right notes? Did he? No, don't tell me.
I don't know what you're talking
Something
about.
that people didn't notice, however, was FunnyGame himself. He never really interacted with the community that much and therefore was surrounded by a lot of mystery. This, however, was not the only reason why he was
Not the Jack Daniels Goldfish Fox Minecraft Void.
of a mystery. Why are you standing so far away? It is 2015. Players from all around the world wake up to see a new level featured at the top of the list called Death Moon. This level was made by someone called Caustic, and man, was it sending waves through the community. Everyone was talking about this level. It was outstanding. So many creative effects, such unique art, and the entire aesthetic just felt amazing. And the craziest thing was, whoever this person was, it was his first level. It didn't even take
Ain't
a
no
day
way.
for people to start theorizing that Caustic might be a secret alt account of FunnyGame. But that would be ridiculous, right? Who would upload an entire level they spent weeks or months on to a different account, hiding their identity? Well,
I don't know.
FunnyGame, for some reason? Remember earlier when I explained that you can just feel when you play a FunnyGame level? It turns out all the people saying the level felt like a FunnyGame level, they were right. He was the owner of the account Caustic. Why would he hide his identity?
I mean, maybe it's just a cooler name. I mean, it is Caustic. That's way cooler of a name than FunnyGame, which is just it doesn't match the brand. I'll be honest. There was nothing funny about his earlier work, and all the blood rain and sigils he had in the background. I feel like Caustic is a much edgier and better representation of the FunnyGame brand. So, yeah, it's time to get serious, boys. No more funny games.
Don't really know. All we know is that this level was amazing, and basically everyone who played it instantly fell in love with it. We now
I'm in love with this level.
2016. 2.0 released not too long ago, and even more revolutionary features were added to the game, including move triggers, basically unlimited color channels, even more crazy blocks to play with, and with those, the floodgates opened.
Bro, they got fucking
2.0 was
mouths
the
in this
era
game.
Levels really started to look like the levels that we see today, and leading the push was of course FunnyGame. Abyss. This
They got
has to
Iron
be
Man
one of my
with no
favorite
legs.
levels from FunnyGame. It basically showed everyone in the community what was actually possible with the new move triggers added to the game. The most insane thing about this level was the fully moving custom backgrounds. Before this, almost nobody even thought of the idea to create your own backgrounds and make them move. Finally, levels
Alright,
could
you're
jump
just
away
glazing
from
this
the
guy.
20 default backgrounds
Backgrounds,
provided by the game,
dude.
and the community noticed. All of a sudden, levels with custom backgrounds were popping up everywhere, with FunnyGame seemingly being the one to massively popularize the concept. Another game-changing thing this level introduced was the low detail mode. By touching this trigger at the start, it would disable tons of objects everywhere, making the level easier to run for low-end devices like phones. This is a concept that to this day has become the standard of every big level. Without a low detail mode, you basically cut out a huge percentage of the player base that can't handle these insane complex levels. Over 2.0 and even the start of 2.1, FunnyGame kept releasing banger after banger after banger. Serious, with one of the first big effort boss fight concepts, Lonely Travel, basically spawning an entire trend of really long levels. Nemesis, Don't Cry, Puzzle Trials, Simplism. He was the peak of the creator community, and it seemed like nothing could bring him down.
That sounds like a lot of pressure, dude. Maybe it's a freaking Asmongold becoming Zach Rar because too much pressure situation. Who knows? You're freaking just... I don't want to be FunnyGame no more.
He was revolutionary.
He is
What up, Gillian?
far one of the most influential creators this game has ever seen.
You could like make the effects.
Alright, who the fuck are you guys? Skipping that. I'll link to the full video in the description of this reaction, though. Shouts out to this guy. This is a very random story from the Geometry Dash community, and even just from the gameplay, dude, there's way more than I've never seen before. Holy shit. Holy shite.
Over the years, theories were crafted as to why FunnyGame levels suddenly felt so different. One of them was a rumor floating around that FunnyGame got hacked, and someone just straight up stole his account. Account hacks have been very common over the years. Players got their levels deleted, they lost their accounts, they got impersonated, and so on. This is why the account hack theory was so believable to me. However, that is not what actually happened. To make this video, I contacted players who basically were as close as you can get to FunnyGame. The story they told me is quite strange and will need a bit of context, but this is what I believe actually happened. When you are as praised and loved as FunnyGame, the pressure can be intense.
Oh my god, I was right.
Every time you create a new level, people expect only the best from you.
So
this is
true, dude.
All creators deal with in a different
It was foreshadowed, I suppose, in the constant alcoholism references, which I don't know if it's the narrator or FunnyGame himself going through this, but please come back to us. It's gonna be okay, bud.
But I don't think anyone ever had to live up to his own standards like FunnyGame did. The pressure to perform must have been awful for FunnyGame. Stuff like this can slowly drag you down over the years, and I've been told that's something he suffered with a lot. Even before Simplism, FunnyGame felt burned out. It was as if he couldn't keep up with the new era of crazy creators joining the game. This made it really hard for him to find time and motivation for levels, and at the end, it kinda got him burned out for the 2.1 update. This was only a small part of the problem, however. The biggest problem being the job he worked for. I'm not going to share his job because I want to respect his privacy. Just take my word that none of us would have time to focus on a mobile game if we worked in the same line of work. So this is where he stood. With a looming burnout and real life slowly catching up to him, he was left with a big dilemma. Should he just fade away from the game, only to be remembered as a creator from the past? Or could he maybe keep it going somehow? Just for a bit, until he has more time? Well, FunnyGame chose the second option. He decided to give his account away to a friend. If what I was told is correct, this was a full-on teacher and student relationship where FunnyGame would teach the other person how to create levels just like he did. The plan was to create the illusion that FunnyGame never left. Maybe he thought this would give him time to take a break so he could relax and refresh his mind a bit. But we all know how it turned out in the end. We are now approaching the end of 2.1. With the new update 2.2 just over the horizon, we haven't heard a single word from FunnyGame ever since they swapped.
I wonder if that's still up to date, dude. Freaking shout out to this guy and FunnyGame, whoever the hell that is, and his son, who he may or may not have given his account to. This was an interesting story about Geometry Dash and how my dad dashed straight out of my life.